NFTs are back, DeFi platforms yielding crazy returns, and airdrops that can send this market out of the stratosphere. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Crypto Gorilla video. As usual, I'm not a financial advisor. Hit that subscribe button and let's jump right into it, starting off with the NFT market that had an amazing weekend. Pretty much any legacy collection that you bought into had a 20 to 50% pump. And that's not considering the pump that we recently had in ETH. So there was some big money to be made here. And I feel this was only a taste of what's possible in the next few months. Now, although we did have a rally since last week from pudgies going from 9 to 13, 14-ish ETH, the real rally started off when a single wallet came in and swept 48 CryptoPunks for $8.5 million. And while we don't know exactly what's behind this purchase, I did see on Crypto Banter, Rand speaking about something happening between Wall Street and CryptoPunks, maybe some sort of strategic NFT reserve. He says he's under NDA, so he can't talk about it.
Somehow, somewhere, let's say that the CryptoPunks are coming to Wall Street.
However, if we do get Wall Street coming in, buying our JPEGs, that would be amazing because we need the money to come from somewhere. It can't just be you and me trading, pictures back and forth. And I feel that retail is not ready at all for an NFT run. First of all, they absolutely hate NFTs. And second of all, NFTs are extremely risk on, more than altcoins, even more than meme coins, I'd argue. So we're gonna need big bucks to come in and pump these floors. And if you look at what's been happening in the altcoin market, it's been Wall Street that's coming in and bidding. So if the same thing happens for NFTs, that would be amazing. Now, while I don't expect them to buy every random PFP on the market, I do think it's going to have a ripple effect and people are going to be chasing any collection they can as they see the main collections ripping, which is exactly what happened this weekend as punks reached 50 ETH in their floor and then everything else just started to take off. People were just trying to think of any legacy collection they could and the prices were going up. Now, if this Wall Street theory is true, punks make perfect sense, but I think other than that, the thing they're going to be going for are the fine art NFTs. So we have the Chromie Squiggles that saw an amazing sweep going from 4 ETH all the way to 6, so a 50% pump. Then we saw a sweep on Fidenzas by Tyler Hobbs, which you can see here, one wallet swept 7. And these are not cheap NFTs. These are $130,000 or more. So a single wallet came in and spent $1 million to get 7 of these, digital art pieces. We also had some small sweeps on ringers, which I believe there was previously an auction for, it was called like the duck or the goose through Sotheby's on ringers. So it's another notable collection. And then with that momentum, everything else was running. So we saw pudgy penguins go all the way to a 17 ETH floor. I'm actually getting asked a lot since my purchase like 10 days ago. It's up over $30,000, so 2x in USD. And people are asking me if I sold it, if I plan to sell it. I don't want to sell for anything less than 20 ETH, but I think it can go way higher from there, especially with their positioning in the market. But there's also the whole abstract airdrop angle. And the last time they broke 30 ETH, they went to 36 ETH, it was around the Pengu airdrop. So I'm hoping that repeats for abstract, even though there's no confirmation that they're going to get a direct airdrop and it won't just be like a booster on the Abstract XP website. But we do have this tweet from Finn saying Abstract August, position yourself accordingly. So I don't know if this means the token's going to be dropping in August or if they're just starting some like major marketing campaigns. But either way, August should be an exciting month for Abstract and pudgy penguins. Now, of course, I'm biased because I hold a pudgy, but I do feel pudgies are the most likely to break their previous all-time highs. One, because they have that catalyst of the abstract token. And 2, because their previous all-time high wasn't anything crazy. It was 36 ETH, and they only need another 2x to hit it compared to collections like Azuki's, which went to 32 ETH, Doodles, which went to 24, I believe, and then Moonbirds, which went all the way to 40, currently at 1.6, doing really well. That's going to take a lot more capital to get them to their previous all-time highs. It's a lot more multiples, and there's going to be a lot more profit taking along the way. So I'm not saying those NFTs aren't good plays. I'm actually bullish on some of those. cryptos. However, I'm most confident in Pudgy Penguins. But continuing down this list, we have Bored Apes that went all the way to 14 ETH. If you look at any chart, they're all pretty much like this, like just an immediate sweep and the prices go crazy. And most of the NFTs are thankfully holding pretty strong. But Apes was just an easy buy because if we do look at the chart and we filter by, let's just do 1 year, like there's a really strong floor at 10 ETH. 10 ETH is pretty much the bottom. So looking at this, I just figured that worst case, my downside would be going down to 10 ETH, but the upside, I feel these can easily go above 20 ETH if we do get a continuation in the NFT mania. And my purchase was at 12.2. So we went to 14. We're pretty much back down to my entry, but I'm really not worried about apes. If anything, I'm more worried about ETH going down and then them taking the whole NFT market down. Now, the reason behind the ape rally, outside of pretty much all NFTs ripping, has to do with Garga tweeting that the world isn't ready for NFT treasury companies, but they are coming anyway. So I don't know if this has to do with what Rand was talking about and Wall Street with CryptoPunks. It would make sense because Yuga sold CryptoPunks, so they still have that relationship. But if it is the case, I like it because he's not promoting anything else. He's promoting a Bored Ape here. So it would be great if Wall Street's coming in to also purchase our Bored Apes. Now, of course, I want my bags to go up, but I also want to see Bored Apes go back to a $100,000 floor for the memes, right? Like, don't talk to me if you don't have a 1 to 100K PFP, but apes would be the hated rally from Web 2's point of view, because Web 2 not only hates NFTs, they don't like apes, right? They were really mad that people were paying hundreds of thousands of dollars for a monkey JPEG. So I would love for them to go up just as like NFTs aren't dead. So I'm bullish Pudgies, I'm bullish Bored Apes. I'm also considering grabbing some Azuki assets, maybe one of each, Elemental, Bean, and an Azuki, even though they kind of do trade in tandem. Like Beans trade at 1/20th of the price of Azuki and Elementals at 1/10th. So you don't really need to buy all three, but the Azuki IP is just the best in Web3, in my opinion. I'd argue even better than Pudgy Penguins, excuse me, but the anime side of things is just super cool versus the cute side of Pudgy. Both are good, okay? No one's better than the other. Both are good, but I just really like the Azuki brand. So I definitely think they're going to do well this cycle if we get the NFT run I think we're going to get. But the one that has shocked me the most is going to be Moonbirds. These things have performed incredibly well, bottoming at around 0.3 before the initial announcement of the CTO. But as you can see here, there's been some crazy sweeps going on from 0.3 all the way to 1.8, which yes, has to do with the CTO. So a new team coming in and taking over the project. I'm actually going to tune into the spaces today with OpenSea and the new Moonbirds team to really find out what's going on. But the recent sweep has to do with Spence apparently posting and deleting about a token. We have a screenshot here. I can't verify if this is real because he apparently deleted it. But as you can see, most of the action for crypto native IPs happens at the fungible token stage. Moonbirds hasn't launched a fungible token. So if Moonbirds are going to get a token, we've seen this happen with Pudgy Penguins, with Azuki, with Doodles. They all pump into the token and then it's a free for all once a token comes out. But if they're going to tease a token, if there's going to be a token airdrop for holders, I wouldn't be shocked to see these things continuing to run, especially when you consider they haven't even broken their mint price, which is 2.5 ETH. So it's amazing to see NFTs making a comeback here. I think similar to altcoins, it's not going to be like 2021 where you can just pick any alt. So you can't just pick any NFT and hope it goes up unless you're just trading it for like a 1 day time period. But I think anything on the medium to long term, you need to strategically place yourself either into a catalyst like a token airdrop, or just pick a brand that is very strong and notable that when people think, I want to buy NFTs, it's one of the first names that comes to their mind. So that does it for the secondary market side of NFTs. As for upcoming whitelists, to be honest, there really isn't that much that I'm bullish on at the moment. I have mentioned a bunch of projects in recent videos. The ones that I'm most bullish on are happening on Mega ETH. However, I do think it's an amazing time for a random mint to pop up on Catchment, which if you don't know Catchment, it's kind of the Bullx or Photon of NFTs. So where you watch brand new stuff pop up, where you see the volume, where you see what's minting out. And in the last cycle, people spotted some really great drops here. So I would love to have like a Goblin Town or a Nakamigos of 2025. Now, like I said, I do feel the NFT run is dependent on the performance of ETH, which has been performing amazingly. This is like the hated rally. Everybody was declaring ETH dead. And now, we got tweets here. Is ETH going to be 5K by Friday? And we're starting to see the, 10K ETH, 15K ETH predictions come back. But the funny thing is, ETH hasn't even broke its all-time high. So I think when we see ETH break, I think it's 45 or 4,800. When it breaks that, I think NFTs are going to go crazy, and then altcoins are going to go ballistic. That's when we're going to see the 10, 20, 50x returns on altcoins if you're positioning yourself now. However, the downside here is I believe that's also going to be the beginning of the end, meaning the cycle is going to be ending soon. So don't get crazy FOMO and think like this cycle's never going to end. That's exactly what happened in 2021 and previous cycles before that, and people get absolutely wrecked. And you didn't just wait like 2 to 3 years for the market to pump to not make any money. Now with this altcoin pump, we did see a drop in Bitcoin dominance, but the good side here is that Bitcoin is holding up incredibly well. So this is exactly what I like to see. Bitcoin's price holding strong while altcoins are pumping, as opposed to Bitcoin nuking and altcoins pumping. So that really is the perfect combination. I think one thing that could throw a wrench in the gears of this cycle is the fight between Trump and Jerome Powell, where Trump's trying to find a way to fire him or pressure him into lowering rates, which I think that would be really bad for the market short term. I think we would see an aggressive sell-off if he did go ahead and fire Jerome Powell. And we're kind of on the clock here because the next FOMC meeting is in 8 days. So on July 30th. And as you can see, it's a 97.4% chance that we are not going to get a rate cut. So I'm not expecting one, but I really hope this doesn't lead Trump to firing him, because I don't think that would be good for market sentiment. Moving on, we have some new DeFi platforms, which came out last week, so you probably heard of them already. I wanted to do a video on Friday. However, as you can see, I moved. I have a brand new backdrop or studio. So let me know what I should put on these shelves, what you think of it. It's still a work in progress. I got to fix the lighting, camera angle, and all that, but new studio, it's exciting. However, the platforms are prjtx and Blackhole. So prjtx is on hyperliquid, which personally I'm excited about because I have been farming hyperliquid. I will put an airdrop tutorial in the description down below for their season 2. I think it's going to be a huge airdrop. However, I think a lot of people were caught off guard with this because it wasn't like a social fi, info fi type of thing where they could just earn free money. Here you actually have to put money into these pools in order to get a return. Now, while I don't know if prjtx is going to have their own token, I'm assuming they will. I'm just using this, like I said, to farm hyperliquid. There is a risk of impermanent loss when you use these platforms, so you need to understand what you're doing. If you want a tutorial for either of these, let me know in the comments down below. Personally, the pools that I chose are just the hype to L hype and hype to K hype. As you can see, I'm getting like no yield. I'm making pennies every single day, but I don't care. I just want zero risk as long as the platform behind K hype and L hype don't go out of business, in which case I'm screwed. But if not, like I said, I am just farming hyperliquid. So I'll put a referral link in the description down below, which will get you a 10% boost. However, the platform that I'm actually using to farm yield is going to be Blackhole. Now, there was already an airdrop, so I suggest going to the link down below or just the website blackhole.xyz and checking if you have an airdrop to claim, because it's literal free money and the token has been performing really well. However, if we look at some of these yields, like 2,000%, 1,700%, 1,500%, this is really good if you know what you're doing with DeFi. So the pool that I chose the super / black hole pool. It's currently getting 875% APR. So I'm pretty new to this one. I just threw in 10K in each token roughly because it balances out. And I believe I'm going to be making $500 a day. Obviously, that yield is going to change. At first, it was 2,000%. Now it's down to 875. Maybe next week it's going to be at 300%. Who knows? But I'm looking at these tools as a way to actually make money, right? To actually utilize the tools as opposed to just trying to farm a airdrop by putting out some tweets. Now, the cool thing with this pool is the emissions are paid out in the black token, which, like I said, is performing really well. It's actually up from the airdrop, which most tokens don't do that. They're down only, but they have a lot of brand power with this being a project by Elio and Alex Becker. So I do think the token is going to continue going up into this bull run, as it's currently sitting at 144 million FDV. I can see this going, 200, 300, 400 throughout the cycle. Now, speaking of airdrops, how insane would Q4 be if we got even just a fraction of some of these airdrops? Because this would be a ton of liquidity added into the system that I believe people would use to YOLO into NFTs, into altcoins or meme coins, whatever they're into. Because I think a lot of people right now, especially for NFTs and altcoins, they feel very sidelined. A lot of people didn't have exposure to this stuff. It started taking off. They feel they're too late. But if the bull just started and we're about to go much higher, which I believe we are, it's definitely not too late. You might just have to endure a short-term pullback. But a lot of these platforms have promised an airdrop. We have Pump Fund, who straight up said, like, airdrop confirmed and coming. We don't know when it is. We have Bullex, who, since they launched, they've been teasing airdrop 1. So that means maybe there's going to be multiple airdrops, but also tools like Photon, Shuriken, they all used a token to get people to their platform. We have OpenSea, of course, with the whole Voyages campaign, which I'm doing every single weekday when they're live. And that's going to be for the C token. I'm also trying to get as much volume I can, both for NFTs and token swaps on the platform. We have Abstract, which is another one I've been farming, and like we saw at the beginning of this video, I hold a pudgy. We have Hype Season 2, again, tutorial in the description down below. And then we have chains like Monad, Mega ETH, which Mega ETH said no airdrop, but I hope there is one, Linea, as well as platforms like Ethos. So just a few of these airdrops I think would be amazing for the market. However, the one that we've all been waiting years for, like 5 years, is Metamask. And they teased a post where they wrote like redacted. I don't think it's a token airdrop. Now they have these weekly missions that they launched, which I don't know if I'm going to do these, to be honest. Right now, the prizes just seem like money. Like, hey, we're giving away $5 grand, $500 worth of Ondo, of AUSDC, and you have to complete missions. You have to do swaps. It's not the most difficult thing. It's just going to be tedious. And right now they're only saying it's for weekly prizes, which I really hope this does lead to a token. I feel one of the reasons they're doing this is because the wallet is losing traction. The performance of MetaMask has only gone down. It is incredibly frustrating to use, crazy long load times. Like, it makes your browser slower. So I've been using a lot more of Rabby. So I imagine for them, this is a way to get users back, but it would be amazing if this did lead to an airdrop, because pretty much the whole space has used MetaMask. So that would be awesome. And it would be really a community airdrop where everybody gets tokens. So again, I don't know if this is actually going to happen, but if it did, it would be awesome. But that being said, this is the end of today's video. I'm going to be dropping a bunch of tutorials in the coming days, especially as retail enters the market. I feel they're going to need some help. So don't be shocked if you see a bunch of like basic videos like how to buy crypto and stuff like that. However, if you enjoy these market recap videos, would you kindly hit that subscribe button, smash that bell notification, hit the like while you're down there. Thank you for watching another Crypto Gorilla video. Peace.